Hey, I'm Jim Harold. I host a podcast called Jim Harold's Campfire. It is a show dedicated to campfire stories. And we've been doing it since, what has it been? 2009 already? 11 years? Unbelievable. And we also have a series of 5 books out. You can see there, Jim Harold's Campfire True Ghost Stories. There's 5 books. And what I'm going to do tonight is read a story from one of the books and get your reaction. We're live streaming this if you're watching the recorded version of this, but it should be a lot of fun. Also, if you like what you see, please check out our YouTube channel right here. Make sure you subscribe, youtube.com/Jim Harold, and make sure to hit the notification bell so you never miss a stream or an episode or a video, as the case may be. And now we're going to do this story. We're going back 10 years now, 10 years. This one's called Not Just Any Painting. It was from Jay in California. It was October of 2010, and he called into this show and told this story. And this is in his voice, not mine. This story happened when I was around 4 years old. About a year previously, my mom had divorced and taken me and my 3-year-old sister with her. She moved us all in with a friend of hers at a place in Fremont, California. It was something like a motel. Mom's friend had a daughter who was 3 years old too. So we were the 2 little girls and me. We all lived together. And during that time, my mom went to a garage sale in San Francisco. It was in one of the Victorian homes there. And from what I was told, she went down to the basement, and there are a bunch of pictures. Painted pictures, not just prints, but real painted pictures. Some of them were finished, some unfinished. Now, what was interesting about this basement is that there was a painted scene on top of the ceiling, instead of just white walls, part representing heaven and the other part hell. And when my mother started asking around, it appeared the people were, well, I don't want to say satanic, but she mentioned something similar to that, something on the dark side. Now, that didn't stop my mom, no, not from buying a painting she thought was beautiful. It portrayed a lady with blonde hair sitting on a rocking chair in a white gown. My mom loved the picture, brought it home, and found a place to put it. And it ended up being hung on the wall between the upstairs and downstairs. I sense, folks, that there is going to be a turn in this story here. There's going to be a turn. Here it comes. Well, soon after that, this painting started randomly falling off the wall. I remember this happening several times, although I was just a kid. It wasn't as though the nail was bent or the sheetrock was giving away. It would suddenly just fall off of the wall. Mom would hear the crash and go in there and put it back up. And this happened quite a few times. So it got to the point where my mom and her friend had started to wonder what in the world was going on. There was one time when they threw a get-together, and it fell off the wall during the party. I remember going up the stairs and some of the adults were talking about it. My mom was just telling some of the people, yeah, it just keeps falling off. Once again, there it is, off the wall. Now, I should tell you about this place. It echoed a lot for some reason. If you were upstairs, you could hear things pretty well downstairs. In the middle of the night, we would start to hear the faucet in the kitchen start to drip water, and you could really hear it clearly. Drip, 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 drip. My mom would go down there and shut it off. A few days after that party I told you about is when it really started getting interesting. This is where all of us, especially us kids, started to get a little scared. In the middle of the night, maybe at 2 or 3 a.m., you would start to hear a lady downstairs crying very softly. We didn't know how to take it. I remember being in my room with my sister and my mom's roommate's daughter as well. We all slept in the same room. I remember the first time it happened, my mom and her friend came to our room. They opened the door and just stood there. We all listened to this going on, but they were too scared to go downstairs. But they wanted to come to be with us kids while this was going on. Eventually, that night, it mellowed out. But the next night, it happened again. My mom and her friend came to our room that night, and the crying was just a little louder. The crying was like moaning and sobbing. I can envision this figure, maybe with her hands on her eyes, crying, looking down into her lap. That's what Jay was visualizing in his mind. That was the kind of crying it was. I just remember lying there. We're all looking at each other, and we can hear this. Now, a few nights go by, and it happens again. At this point, my mom and her friend, well, they're really scared. We all just knew it was going to happen again. About a week later, it got to the point where the crying was incredibly loud. It started out soft, and it got louder and louder. Then, it just went explosive. It was so loud you could literally feel the crying through the walls, like a woman was just crying and bawling her eyes out. My mom, her friend, and all of us were so shocked and scared that we took action. My mom and her friend immediately ran into our room, turned the lights on, and grabbed us. They didn't even put clothes on us. It was just like, something's going on down there, and we're getting out right now. I just remember my mom grabbing us out of bed. There wasn't any preparation. We all ran down the stairs at once. I just remember my mom grabbing me and my sister and holding us, carrying us. Then her friend got her kid, and we all went at the same time. I remember there was a pause before we went down, and then we just went for it. Luckily, we didn't have to pass the living room because the front door was right down the stairs. But if you made a right-hand turn and went down the hall for 4, 5, 6 feet, then it cuts off into the living room where the sound was coming from. We didn't have to go in there, and that again was where that intense crying was coming from. I remember running out that door, and all of us were frantic. I just remember holding on to my mom, and the crying was just so loud. Then we had to go around the community pool, which was right in front of the sliding glass doors in our living room. So Jay's basically saying you could see into his living room through these sliding glass doors. He said our sliding glass door didn't have curtains, so you could see right inside our apartment. The parking lot was on the other side of the pool within sight of our apartment. So when we got in the car, we could see right through the glass windows. That's when my mom and her friend freaked out. Because when we looked inside our apartment, there was a lady with a white gown sitting in our rocking chair in the living room, just rocking. She was the figure in the painting. I just got goosebumps. How about you? I did. I really did. My mom and her friend started to scream, "Oh my God!" I just remember my friend's mom trying to get the keys in the ignition to start the car, and she couldn't do it. I just remember us kids screaming, "Ah!" We were just terrified. My mom's friend finally got the keys in the car, and it was in the wee hours of the morning, and we just drove straight to my grandma's house, which was about 7 or 8 miles away in the next town. When we got there, us kids, we never went back. My mom had to go with some people and immediately evacuate to get her stuff out and get out. And so did her friend. From that point on, me and my mom and my sister stayed at my grandma's again until she remarried. My sister knows what happened to the painting, but I really don't know. I can't remember. I wish I did, because I don't want to say that she trashed it or gave it away. I'm not sure. I'm more than sure my mom didn't keep the painting, and it didn't stay in that house. And I'm sure they did something with it. I will never, ever forget it. Seeing that rocking woman from the painting. It's impossible. And it's funny when you're an adult and you look back, you think, well, that must have been a dream. Well, no. No, it wasn't a dream. This is something we all experienced. It's just one of those things when you're an adult. You can remember it as if it happened, or you can turn it off and pretend it never did. The truth is, it really did happen, though. We ended up in my grandma's house, and we never went back. That's it. It's actually hard for me to talk about it. Even now, remembering that incident is scary as hell. And that was Jay from California. Thank you, Jay, for that great story. And what did you think of that, folks? So, okay, now here's the discussion part. We're going to talk a little bit. You tell me what you think of this story. Don't all go at once. I know we've got a bunch of people on watching, actually, but I'd love to get your feelings of what happened here. Was it that painting was somehow supercharged with emotion? Was there some kind of spell put on the painting? What do you think? Amy said she would be scared too. Michelle says creepy. I gotta agree with you, Michelle. Who else has some thought? Kronos 1981 says a classic. Matt says love it. I'd also be interested if you want to see me do more of these, because I think it's a lot of fun with the campfire. Lonnie says great story. Well, I want to get your opinion. What do you guys think it was? Do you think somebody put a spell on that? What do you think happened? I'd be interested in what you think. Oh my. I don't think we've ever got one of these. This is a super sticker from Starfire 3. Hippo character smacks his hands into his face and looks around to see if anyone saw what he just saw. Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Starfire. That is our first super sticker. I think it's actually supposed to show a little sticker. I don't know what the deal is. I'll have to check into that. But Starfire 3, thank you so much. $4 super sticker. That's like a super chat. So really appreciate it, Starfire. And that will go in to support all of our equipment and everything here. So thank you so much. I appreciate it, Starfire 3. Michelle E says definitely haunted. Ember says definitely sounds like the painting. Yeah, sounds like it. Or Ethan says, or the woman who was crying was the painter of the picture. Interesting. Or he says had to be haunted. Do more. He says, yeah, I think I would have burnt the painting. LOL. Ooh, could the old lady, I'm assuming whoever owns this house, be attached to the painting out of sentimentality? That's an interesting thought, Phil. I like it. Lonnie says, spirit attached to the painting. Interesting. Let's see here. Any other thoughts on this one? You know, I wonder if it was something from that house, like some kind of spell or something had been put on the painting. Or maybe that had nothing to do with it, that was just a coincidence. And maybe it was, I don't know. Do you ever think maybe the person who was the subject of the painting was a very sad person, and it was so... person was so sad it imbued their spirit? I don't know. Brandon says keep them coming. Thank you, Brandon. Thank you. Really appreciate you guys turning in. Lou says these kinds of stories always make me question the nature of reality myself, reality itself. I agree, Lou. That's what I think, and all the time doing the shows, I don't know that I have it figured out. I don't know if I know what it is, but something happened to my fire here. It got really small all of a sudden. I'm not sure what happened there. The joys of doing these things on the fly. Really fun. Somehow I made my campfire really small, but we got it back. Lanny, yes, more. We will do more, I promise. Oh, what fun we're having with technology tonight. New comments, let's see. Almost like stone tape with paint, excellent. Where someone was very tech savvy and created a hologram. Amy says maybe black magic. Morse says that's what I'm thinking. Attachment to the painting. Random cap person. Maybe the person's sadness was so strong the emotion impressed on the painting. Interesting. Matt says I think it was the painting. Sounds creepy to begin with. Did the submitter show any pictures of it? No. This was audio only. We didn't have a lot of different facility then for. We didn't have a campfire group or anything like that. This was very early on. Thanks for asking, Matt, though. Lenny says, I think it was a spirit attachment to the painting, but could have been somehow amped up from where it came from. CF Traveler says, and yes, you should do more of these. It's a hippo laughing out loud. Thank you, Starfire. I don't know if that sticker showed. I couldn't see from mine, so maybe it did show. I'm not sure what happened, but there, I got my head straightened out. You know, I've been streaming using another program, so I'm relatively new at this program. So honestly, folks, I'm learning on the fly here. So Sherry says, I think maybe the lady's spirit was attached to the painting. Makes sense. Oh, this is a good one. Amy says that whatever an artist creates can have their energy tied to it. So maybe the subject of the painting wasn't even upset. Maybe the painter was upset and it was their emotion. I was wondering if the home was haunted for the woman to come out of the picture. Could be, Patty. Could be. I think it had a spirit attached. Morris, I think the world is a strange place. I think it is too. Holly says, sounds like magic was involved. Amy says, yes, this is a lot of fun. Oh, Jennifer has an interesting comment. As an artist, it's super creepy. I often wonder where the characters that come through my work ultimately reside. Now, Jennifer, I'd be interested. I've heard writers and things say that characters take on a life of their own, or artists. Let us know if that happens to you. Eliza said, I would be like the kid and take off running. Me too. Lenny says, yes, more, thank you. Lou, back to the loop. These kinds of stories always make me question the nature of reality. Let's see here. I want to see where I left off. Looking, we've got comments coming in fast and furious here. Lipsha said, hey, I'm really here. Great story. Please do this again. Virtual hug. Same to you, Lipsha. And we will do it again. This is fun. And once I get the tech down, it's going to be even more fun. Snow Shadow says, they say good always wins, but I wish I could understand why unseed things are allowed to attack others. Good point. Shell says, love this, Jim. Please do more. Possibly a spirit attached to the painting. Maybe something behind the painting like a hex. Cool. That's a good point. That's a good point, though. Jerry said maybe the people who she bought the painting from were dabbling in the supernatural, and this poor woman in the painting got mixed up with them, and they did this to her. Could be. Oh, reminds me of the Campfire story where the couple entered the creepy bar in the middle of nowhere and saw themselves in the mirror. Yes, the Roadhouse Saloon. It rarely fails to come up. Yes. Think about the ceiling. Definitely magic. And the world is getting stranger. A few years back, heard a guy on Art Bell's most recent shows, Midnight in the Desert, that was working on a unifying theory of the paranormal, and he delved quite deeply into the nature of reality. Can't recall name. Not Campbell, not Thomas Campbell. I can picture the theory of everything. I think I know who you're talking about. I can't remember his name. I'm sorry. Maybe I'll think of it later. Hey, Sylvia. Good to see you. Glad you made it. Jennifer says on the characters, I asked her about the characters. She said, yes, they do so much that I've actually stopped paintings. I'm a surrealist. Things can get weird sometimes. And I don't plan paintings, so they confound me too. I have one stopped right now. Patty says, remember the movie What Dreams May Come with Robin Williams? Yes. Good point. Oh, Marie, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it. Love you, Jim. Keep them coming. Thank you, Marie. I appreciate it so much. Thank you. And those super chats help support our channel. You know, we bought a lot of equipment over the last year. So those super chats help. Thank you so much, Marie. Thank you. Mr. D said, as freaky as it seemed, I wouldn't be able to leave the house without at least looking in my room on the way past. maybe could have spoken to her. See, you're braver than me, Mr. D. There is no way. There is no way I would do that. Ugh. You're brave, not me. And everybody, you know what you should do next time we do this? Turn your lights down. Turn your lights down and you'll have the campfire and the crackling of the campfire. And I'll get better as we go. Amy says, you need to tell that story about the Roadhouse Saloon again. Amy, actually on this YouTube channel, youtube.com/Jim Harold, you can tune in and actually check it out yourself. And T.I. tells the story way better than I could tell it. It's at Jim Harold. It's at youtube.com/Jim Harold. In fact, if you like what I do, you want to make sure you're subscribed to this channel. youtube.com/Jim Harold. youtube.com/Jim Harold on that note. And make sure that you hit that notification bell so you never miss one of these, because I pretty much decided, based on our reaction tonight, we're going to be doing more of these. I'm glad you like it. Let's see here. Roadhouse Saloon was so creepy. 79 Seaweed says, cold where I'm at, Utah. Love the fire in the background. Yeah, it's perfect for this time of year, isn't it? Snow Shadow, again with the Roadhouse Saloon. It's one of the best, and it's right here on this YouTube channel. T.I. retells it, so look at my videos. Random Cat Person said, this is a great way for us all to interact in the campfire community. This is awesome, Jim. Lou says, yes, Theory of Everything. Have you had him on? If not, you should, and if so, I will dig through the archives about a year in advance of the Plus Club. I think I did, Lou. L-U, Lou. Do me this favor. Go to my website, jimharold.com, and click on Contact in the menu. And send me a note, and I will look up the episode for you, because I believe I spoke to him way back on the Paranormal Podcast, maybe 10 years ago. And here's the thing, folks, and this is a good note in general. A lot of times people will send me messages on Facebook. Most of the time I never see them, because first of all, Facebook scatters your messages all over, and it'll be in this box or that box, because I have like 17 different pages. The other thing is that it's a great way for people to, and it's not their fault, hackers do this, but they send these videos like, have you seen yourself in this video? So I never look at messages for that reason, because I know it's an attack vector. So the best way to contact me, jimharold.com, click on Contact. If you do that and fill in the form and send me a form, I will see it and I will respond to it. Might take me a while, but I'll respond to it. But that's the best way to reach me. So Lou, if you can actually go over to jimharold.com, click on Contact, and send me a note, I'll look it up for you. Oh, Sylvia, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. I really appreciate it. That will go to help support the channel. And thank you so much. That's really much appreciated. And we'll make sure we get that on again. Sylvia, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Super sticker from Pamela. And I don't know if this is, I don't know if this is actually showing up on the, I'm new to this with these stickers and stuff, so hopefully that's showing up on the broadcast. Thank you so much, Pamela. I appreciate it. Thank you. That's so kind of you. Thank you so much. Oh, super chat from Eliza. Sitting here with my family, enjoying s'mores and campfire stories. Thank you so much, Eliza. Let's see here. I want to see something. Ember, sorry. Ember, it's a great name for a campfire, by the way. Love the YouTube channel. Can't wait for more. Thank you. Thank you. Tina says this is fun. Love seeing everyone here who listens to the campfire. Patty says, great concept, John. Jim? John? Totally enjoying it. Lou says, will do, thanks. Shell, thank you so much for that super chat. On this cold, rainy evening, the crackling fire and a story told by you is perfect. Well, you know what? Everybody has been so nice with the super stickers and the super chats. Would anybody like to hear another story? Because I think I'm going to tell another story. I'm in just that mood. Now I've got to figure out which one it's going to be, because I only plan to tell one. I've got a good one. So, does anybody want to hear another story? If you tell me you want to hear another story, we will do another story. And thank you all for your super chats and your super stickers. We had Shell who had the super chat. We thank you again for that. I'm just trying to go through and highlight everybody who did that. That was so kind. Eliza, thank you again, Eliza, for that super chat. Pamela, thank you again. I want to make sure I get everybody. Sylvia, thank you again. Really appreciate it. So kind of you. Marie, thank you again for your super chat while we're waiting to queue up that next story. I know there was at least one or two more up here. I want to make sure I get to everybody. I really appreciate this. Very kind of you guys. I think Starfire 3 had one up here. I want to make sure I get to it and just say thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Starfire. She kind of got the ball rolling tonight, so thank you so much for that. All right. So, yes. It looks like people... Marie said, go, baby, go. All right. All right, we'll do another story. All right. This one happened about 7... Well, this happened... This is another one from about 10 years ago. This is from book 1 of the Campfire series. All right. It's called The Lamp Lady Comes at Night. And let's see who our storyteller is on this one. This is from Amy in Montana. And probably you heard this if you've listened to any of the episodes from 2009, 2010. This was very early on. This happened about 17 years ago. I was about 14 years old and we lived in Pennsylvania. My aunt had been going through some things in her house and she asked me if I wanted this lamp that she had found. I was really drawn to it. It wasn't a lamp in the traditional sense. It was the ceramic figure of a woman, a standing Spanish flamenco dancer. Her hand was in an upward position with a tambourine in it, and she had a very full skirt that was swirling, as if she were dancing. The reason I call it a lamp is because there were all these different colored light bulbs in the skirt. You could plug it in, and it would light up. It was very unique. Anyway, I took it home and I put it in my room. I think it was probably no more than a week or so after I had the lamp that the first strange thing happened. I lived out in the country, and when the bus would come in the morning for school, it was still dark outside. Mom would wake up before everyone else, and she would turn the heat up for us because it was very cold. This particular morning, it was dark. I was in the bed and I heard the shuffle of my mom's slippers. At least I thought they were my mom's slippers, coming up to where the thermostat was located right outside my doorway. It was so real you could hear the weight on the floor. I called out to my mom to say good morning, and she didn't respond. I thought, well, that's kind of odd. Soon these footsteps came closer and closer to my doorway, and I glanced up. To my surprise, it was the woman from the lamp standing in my doorway. She was in the same position as she was in the lamp. I could really discern her clothing. It was dark. The same position of the hand, everything. A chill just went down and up my spine. It had tried to trick me into thinking it was my mother, because that's exactly the way her footsteps sounded, with these shuffling slippers. And if you knew my mom, you'd know. It's kind of a family joke how she shuffles. But this was a human figure. I don't remember seeing through it. It was solid. I couldn't see color either because it was always dark. It continued to appear every night, and though it never tried to copy my mom anymore, it progressively got closer and closer to my bed. I can't remember the expression on its face. I just remember this overwhelming feeling of evil. And that, it meant me harm. I was paralyzed. Every time it came around, I couldn't speak and I couldn't move. This went on for several weeks, every single night. And during the day after this would happen, it never occurred to me to tell anyone. It was almost like I couldn't, like it had blocked itself off in my memory. Yet, every night, as I fell asleep, I would have that dread of knowing it was going to come bother me. I had a 4-poster bed, and every night it got progressively closer and closer. I was afraid of what it would do next when it got to the point where it was leaning over me. Toward the end, it had put both of its hands on each of the bottom posts of my bed and was leaning over it. It still kind of freaks me out to talk about it today. For the longest time, I didn't even talk about it because I was so afraid. From the first moment, though, I knew somehow. I guess it was because of the position it stood in. I knew it was connected to that lamp. I finally told my parents, and they decided, okay, we'll just get rid of the lamp. So they did, and nothing happened for a little while. I moved my bed because I didn't want to look at the doorway anymore. And a few weeks after this happened, I was lying in bed, and now my bed is against the wall next to the doorway. And as I looked over, this hand came around the doorway and grabbed the post right next to my head. I was totally freaked out because I thought, what else can I do? The lamp is gone. I've told my parents. Now, at that point, I was pretty religious. I told my pastor, but he just told me to rebuke it. But I couldn't speak. He didn't understand that I seriously was not able to do anything when this happened. It was like I was paralyzed. So the next day I went outside with my sister, and I was telling her about it. And we were walking around the house, and it was in the winter, and there was a lot of snow. All of a sudden, we see the lamp on the ground behind our house. We had an old oil tank, and the lamp was there in the snow behind the oil tank. And that's why it was still coming around. It wasn't really gone. I remember that we told my parents, and I guess my father must have taken it, and he actually put it in the trash can. Once it was gone, the apparition was finally gone too. After the fact, we found out that there was actually a woman who had made the lamp. It was like a ceramic cast piece. This woman had gotten in a lot of trouble for abusing children. So I don't know if somehow she put something into that lamp, but I felt very targeted, as though it really wanted to scare me and terrify me and make my life a living hell. I definitely think it was an entity. It seemed like it knew what it was doing. It felt like it was put there on purpose, almost just to do this sort of thing. Now, I don't know if that makes any sense. That's the way I feel. I believe evil exists. I didn't have a strong opinion on it until this point where it was made real to me. I never thought really that this type of thing was possible. I was pretty skeptical, and I realized that other people believed in these things, but unless I saw it, I wasn't going to believe that certain things were really possible. After this happened, I'm a believer. I mean, how can you not be when something like this happens to you? I know a lot of people would say that I was sleeping, but I know I was awake. I was so terrified I couldn't move and I couldn't sleep. I know I was awake. It happened so many times, and it got progressively closer and closer, and it was just horrible. I was so scared. I don't think I could have slept if I wanted to because my heart was racing. I mean, I was wide awake. And each time it came, it wasn't just a split second. Oh no, it was 5, 10 minutes each time, just standing there. It seemed like it had me mesmerized. Maybe that's part of why it took me so long to tell anyone, because during the day, it was almost like it didn't happen. It just blocked itself off in my mind, and that's so not like me because I talk a lot. Amy from Montana, another Campfire classic. So tell me what y'all think about that one, because that's a spooky one. So, yes. Oh my goodness. So, what do you think about this one? Another haunted object, Morris said. Another haunted object. I have to believe that spirit attachments to objects aren't uncommon. My girlfriend has loved the show ever since I showed it to her. Carved pumpkins to some of the best episodes before Halloween. That's cool. Thank you, Matt. Let's see if we have any comments on this particular story. So tell us what you think. 79 says creepy. That says nope. Jennifer says, oh my gosh. Starfire says, thumbs up for Jim. Thank you. Lanny says the lamp was a Horcrux. I don't know what that is, Lanny. I'm sorry. Type in what that is. I'm not sure what that is. A good piece for the haunted collector. Yes, John Zaffis. Absolutely, Snow Shadow. Michelle says a curse. 79C Wheat says, I believe evil exists too. Intentions and haunted objects for real. I sure do too. Very spooky. Jennifer, oh Lord, that's terrifying. I do believe in haunted objects. I do too. Actually, I have a little story about that. My parents bought a very, very modest house when I was a kid to go on vacation, because we always went to West Virginia. But again, believe me, my dad was a steel worker. This was a very modest little house. It was more kind of like a shack. And anyway, there was this big diploma on the wall. And it was really in that ornate script, you know, they had in the 20s and 30s or even before that. And finally they threw it out because I was scared of it. I was talking to John Zaffis, the haunted collector. And I said, I thought it was just because I had some phobia about the writing on the thing. And she said, no, maybe it was haunted. I never thought about that. Ember says, that's a nope for me. I love buying secondhand things, but this makes me cautious. You know, I wonder about that because I've always liked old stuff. My wife kind of hates old stuff. I like old stuff, and it kind of freaks me out. Morris says, I subscribe to the theory that spirits are no different than who they were when they were alive. Good person equals good spirit. Bad person equals bad spirit. CF Traveler says, very cool. Thank you, CF Traveler. My husband asked me what I was listening to. He hasn't listened before. Maybe I can get him hooked. Way to go, Amy. Ooh, Patty says, sounds like a past life entanglement. Could be. Chakova said, I think Chakova's from Schenectady, if I remember correctly. My family used to go to antique stores and flea markets a lot. I never thought about haunted objects so much until I started listening to Campfire. Kim says, you're a great storyteller. Thank you, Kim. Shell says, I know objects can be haunted, and if the woman who created it was such a horrible person to abuse children, her spirit could be attached. Creepy. Ooh, CF Traveler. And I love this because I learn as much from you guys as you learn from me. Horcrux CF Traveler says, Horcrux is a piece imbued with a soul. Ooh, you're giving me the shivers here. Snow says, but I wonder why it is set where dead people are allowed to torture the living. I don't know. CF Traveler says the concept was in Harry Potter. Well, I watched some of the movies. I didn't watch them all, and I've been negligent there. Amy says, I think those old porcelain dolls are creepy. Could the woman who made it as a portal to continue her horrible deeds? Sherry said, ooh, that could be. That makes sense. Jennifer says, loved a thrift shop, but have not bought things because I had a feeling about them. It can be interesting, but a mixed blessing to sense things. Sometimes ignorance can be bliss, per se. That's true. Well, I have an old pocket knife that belonged to my grandfather, and every time I see that or feel it or touch it, I feel him. And I always thought, well, maybe it's mental, maybe it's, psychosomatic or whatever. Well, actually, psychosomatic's when you think you're sick, but you know what I mean. All in my head. And essentially, maybe it's real. Maybe it's not in my head. Patty said, you have a great storytelling voice. Thank you so much, Patty. And thank you guys. This has been so much fun. I've really enjoyed this. This has been great. You have inspired me to continue this. We'll do another one. We're going to do another one. We'll probably do one in the next week or so, probably towards the end of the week. and it should be a lot of fun. Sandy says, this is why I don't go to antique stores. Lanny says, it is said that things that are human shape are easier for spirits to attach to. That's an interesting theory, Lanny. Michelle says, thanks, Jen. Well, folks, I think this will, one more. Lou's got one more comment. It brings me back to our prior topic. When one sees an image from a vase, or I should say vase, or a picture come to life or something like that, it makes me wonder if tulpa-like reality/altering things are happening. I love the topic of tulpas, Lou. Love it. It's great stuff. Well, thank you all. You made this a real pleasure. I enjoyed it. We'll do it again, guaranteed. Morris says he's recovering from some illness, so I hope he feels better. Thank you, Chikova. Thank you for all the super chats and the super stickers. I appreciate it. You guys, I never had a super chat before or super sticker, so it was a new experience. I appreciate it. And stay tuned. I'll be blasting out when we're going to do this next time. Everybody have a great night. Stay spooky. Stay safe. And I want to see you on the next one. And please tell your friends. And Morris, get better. Stay safe. Stay spooky. Good night, everybody. Bye-bye.